কুঞ্জ বিহারী জয় রাধা মাধব জয় কুঞ্জ বিহারী গোপীজন বল্লভ গিরিবরধারী জয় গোপীজন বল্লভ গিরিবরধারী যশোদানন্দন ব্রজজন রঞ্জন যশোদানন্দন ব্রজজন রঞ্জন যমুনা তীর বনচারী যমুনা তীর বনচারী জয় রাধা মাধব জয় কুঞ্জ বিহারী হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে হরে জয় রাধা গিরিধারী রাধে জয় জগন্নাথ জয় বলদেব জয় সুভদ্রা জয় গৌরনিতাই জয় গৌরনিতাই জয় জয় প্রভুপাদ জয় প্রভুপাদ নিতাই গৌর হরি বল নিতাই গৌর হরি বল Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, all the devotees. So today we'll first read from Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, chapter 24, titled New Jagannath Puri, and after that we'll recite from Srimad Bhagavatam. So I'm just sharing the screen, just allow me a second. So I'm starting here. Prabhupada set his mridanga aside and stood playing koratalas and swaying among the dancers, his feet moving in a stately measure. A big black man danced nearby, facing his white girlfriend, both of them moving as if they were at the Avalon. The girl shook her body and head in wild abandon, and her long, straight hair completely covered her face. Bright blondie Nandarani stood on Prabhupada's right, playing kortals. Sometimes Prabhupada stopped singing and simply observed the scene. His mouth closed in a stern yet sublimely tolerant expression. Some of the young people joined hands, forming a circle and began to dance around and around in front of Swamiji. Then they encircled him as they looked on, still swaying and now clapping solemnly. They danced around him, hand in hand, jumping and wriggling and chanting Hare Krishna. The soft pink hue of the khadi robes contrasting with the white trace of the ipis, Swamiji looked unusual and wonderful, watching and solemnly sanctioning the Kirtana performance. So Prabhupada Lilamrita ki joy, I'm stopping here. So we'll now start from Srimad Bhagavatam. Yes. I'm just sharing the screen before that. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 29, verse 69. Sattvaikaniष्ठे मनसि Bhagavat Parshavattini Tamaschandramasi Vedam Uparajjavabhasate. Sattvaikaniष्ठे मनसि Bhagavat Parshavattini Tamaschandramasi Vedam Uparajjavabhasate. Sattvaikaniष्ठे मनसि Bhagavat Parshavattini Tamaschandramasi Vedam Uparajjavabhasate. So if any of the devotees wants to recite, please, you can do.
Hare Krishna Prabhu Dandot Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu Dandot.
Sadvaika Nishte Manasi Bhagavat Parshavaktini Tamaschandamasi Vedam Uparajya Abhavashate. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Dandot. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Sattvaikaniष्ठे मनसि Bhagavat Parshavattini Tamaschandramasi Vedam Uparajjavabhasate. Hare Krishna.
Anyone else wants to?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please.
Sattvaikaniष्ठे मनसि Bhagavat Parshavattini Tamaschandramasi Vedam Uparajjavabhasate. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please.
Sattvaikaniष्ठे मनसि भगवते पार्श्वावर्तिनि तमस चंद्रम शिवेदम उपराजयावा भासते. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. So anyone else? Then we can move on to the synonyms. So can anyone please read the synonyms, please?
Hare Krishna. I will read
Hare
that.
Krishna.
Sattvaikaniष्ठे, in full Krishna consciousness, Manasi, in a mind, Bhagavat, with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Parshavattini, being constantly associated, Tamaha, the dark planet, Chandramasi, in the moon, Eva, like Idam, this cosmic manifestation, Uparajya, being connected, Abhavashate, becomes manifest. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone wants to read the translation, please?
I'll read Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please read.
Krishna consciousness means constantly associating with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in such a mental state that the devotee can observe the cosmic manifestation exactly as the Supreme Personality of Godhead does. Such observation is not always possible, but it becomes manifest exactly like the dark planet known as Rahu, which is observed in the presence of the full moon. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you. And the purport, can someone also please?
Yeah, Prabhuji, please.
Yes, Mataji, please.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It has been explained in the previous verse that all desires on the mental platform become visible one after another. Sometimes, however, by the supreme will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the whole stockpile can be visible all at one time. In Brahma Samhita 554, it is stated, Karmani nidhati kintu cha bhakti bhajam. When a person is fully observed in Krishna consciousness, his stockpile of material desire is minimized. Indeed, the desires no longer fructify in the form of gross bodies. Instead, the stockpile of desires become visible on the mental platform by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this connection, the darkness occurring before the full moon, the lunar eclipse, can be explained as being another planet known as Rahu. According to Vedic astronomy, the Rahu planet, which is not visible, is accepted. Sometimes the Rahu planet is visible in the presence of full moonlight. It then appears that this Rahu planet exists somewhere near the orbit of the moon. The failure of modern moon excursionists may be due to the Rahu planet. In other words, those who are supposed to be going to the moon may actually be going to this invisible planet, Rahu. Actually, they are not going to the moon but to the planet Rahu. And after reaching this planet, they come back. Apart from this discussion, the point is that a living entity has immense and unlimited desires for material enjoyment, and he has to transmigrate from one gross body to another until these desires are exhausted. No living entity is free from the cycle of birth and death unless he takes to Krishna consciousness. Therefore, in this verse, it is clearly stated, Satvika Nishthe, that when one is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness, in one stroke, he is freed of past and future mental desires. Then, by the desire of the Supreme Lord, everything becomes simultaneously manifest within the mind. In this regard, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur cites the example of Mother Yashoda, Yashoda's seeing the whole cosmic manifestation within the mouth of Lord Krishna. By the grace of Lord Krishna, Mother Yashoda saw all the universes and planets within the mouth of Krishna. Similarly, by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, a Krishna conscious person can see all his dormant desires at one time and finish all his future transmigrations. This facility is specially given to the devotee to make his path clear for returning home, back to Godhead. Why we see things not experienced in this life is explained herein. That which we see is the future expression of a gross body or is already stocked in our mental stockpile. Because of a Krishna conscious person does not have to accept a future gross body, his recorded desires are fulfilled in a dream. We therefore sometimes find things in a dream never experienced in our present life. Thank you, Prabhuji. Krishna
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat.
Thank you, Mataji, for reading this well. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jana Tasmai Sri Gurube Namo Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Padamahyam Dadati Sha Padantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Siyata Padakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavancha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Savana Raghunathan Nitam Tam Sajivam Swadvaidam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Savana Lolita Sri Vishakanitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Bindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavunebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktabinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pishtaya Bhutale Prabhupada Sri Shiva Goswamini Sada Dunya Shri Shiva Gaya Sarva Jiva Kripabde Guru Shiksha Sadachara Palakaya Namostute Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschapta Desha Tarine Namo Mahapadannaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurateshe Namo Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatkripatamaham bande paramanandamadam Sri Guru Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Everybody, I welcome you all, the devotees in this morning class of Srimad Bhagavatam. I know I am not qualified, but still I am doing this service as I have been instructed to undertake this service. And also it gives me an opportunity to purify myself. So I beg all the devotees here for your mercy. Please bless me so that I can properly glorify Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, a brief background of this chapter. As we know, the name of this chapter is Talks between Narada and King Prachin Burhi. It implies that a discussion is going on between Narad Muni and King Prachin Burhi. Now, as a prelude to the present verse, it started from 58 and 59 of this chapter. In verse 58 and 59, King Prachin Burhi had raised two questions to Narad Muni. And the questions are like that. Because the body of the last birth is already lost and a living entity has a new body in the next life, how the results of his past karma done in the previous life get transferred in the next life. Now, Narad Muni is explaining this in verses 60 to 79. And present verse 69 is also part of that. So some of the things are already discussed. I have to probably, just to make a continuity, I will try, I have to mention them. So please bear with me because it might be a sort of repetition. But I'll try to reduce it to the minimum, to the extent what has been already told. Hare Krishna. So we all know it is that our human body consists of two layers or parts, the gross body and the subtle body. And our real identity, that soul, which is our real identity, that is covered by these two coverings. And it is just like our gross body, our body, when we go outside, we have got two sets of dresses. One is inside dress and the outside dress. And similarly, our body has got a subtle body and gross body. Gross body means which is gross, which is visible and which is perceptible by the senses, but subtle body is not. And we also know that gross body is made of 5 elements, as mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 7.4, Bhumi, Apo, Nalo, Vayu, and Khom. So in other words, it is earth, water, fire, air, and ether. But the subtle body, similarly, Mono, Buddhi, and Ahankar, the mind, intelligence, and false ego. And so long there is soul within the body has got six changes, undergoes 6 changes. And it undergoes changes. The gross body undergoes changes, and similarly, subtle body also undergoes changes. But subtle body changes we cannot see, but gross body we can see. As in Bhagavad Gita, it is 2:13, it is very clearly written, so our body grows and from different stages, and it is visible, and we can see that. Now, and it was previously described. I think I also told at one class that in this material world, why we accept a body in this material world. And in one word, in one sentence, it is like that. This is because we had a desire to enjoy or lust for sense enjoyment. This is the cause of our accepting a body, and we come to this material world. Now, within our gross body, there are various senses, and the senses are the different outlets of our lust or sense enjoyment for which we have got a body. And this lust is reserved is within the body, and it is given vent. The lust is given vent through the senses, and the senses are considered in this body. The senses are considered superior part. And in Bhagavad Gita verse 342, the hierarchy of the various senses, parts of the body, or hierarchy is given. Which one controls the other? And it is stated, Indriyani porani ahur, indriye bhuparam mano, monoshastu para buddhi, yo buddhe paratastusha. So the senses are controlled by the mind, and the mind is controlled by intelligence, and intelligence is controlled by the soul. So this is the hierarchy. And in other words, it can be said, as yesterday, I think Siddhanandani Mataji has very clearly, through a picture, has depicted it also. The body is also compared with a roth or a moving vehicle. And in this, the body is compared with the roth, and in this chariot or the roth, the passenger riding the chariot is a living entity, and the intelligence is the charioteer, the mind is the reins controlling the horses, and the senses are the horses. And in this way, living body is falsely enjoying this material world. And our bodily action means action of our senses, but the mind controls the senses. And even we stop our activities by stopping the senses, it is possible. Suppose we're lying on the bed and that's not doing anything, but we cannot stop the mind. Can we stop it? No, we cannot stop the mind. The mind still hovers in different places. And one of the examples we can give is when we're dreaming, we're lying in the body, subtle body is not working. but the mind is working. And in fact, the subtle body controls the mind, controls the gross body. And the gross body is generally forced to act through the subtle body. But above the subtle body, above the mind, there is intelligence, the discriminating intelligence is there. And above the intelligence, soul is there. So if we give a higher, if it is controlled by a highest authority, or here the soul, then all the other subordinate parts of the body remain controlled. And as it is told, a superior consciousness can control the lower consciousness. In Krishna consciousness, exactly, this is what is being done. Krishna consciousness means controlling the soul, and soul is trying to connect with the super soul or the Paramatma. When soul is trying to connect with the Paramatma, all the other subordinate parts of the body remain controlled. And because ultimately everything is under the control of the soul. Now, it is mentioned in in verse 60, the previous verse 60, that when the body dies or a person dies, the gross body is lost, but the subtle body is still there to enjoy or suffer. And the template of the subtle body, one gets a new body. And in this, because the desires that remain within the subtle body, accordingly, the Lord gives him an opportunity to enjoy the next body. So with the desire hidden in the gross body, we get a subtle, in the subtle body, we get a gross body. And in this way, because of our desire, we get one body after another, one body after another. And so long we have a desire, and we'll get a gross body. And the cycle of birth, death continues. Now the question is how we can get rid of it. Because so long the subtle body there, a desire is there, we'll have a subtle body, and through subtle body we'll get another gross body. And in this way, we'll have a continuous cycle of birth and death, and continues. But what's the way out of it? The answer is Krishna consciousness. Because in this state, Krishna consciousness stops the material distress permanently. And I'll try to explain a few words, how it happens, a bit in details, how we can stop that process, how it is operating, and how we can stop it. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami, who is one of our previous acharya, and also he is a direct disciple of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has a book called Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, in which, and also Prabhupada has translated, summary translation of it, is called Nectar of Devotion. And in that book, Rupa Goswami has told that one of the characteristics of Krishna consciousness or the pure devotional service is kleshogni. That means it gives relief from material distress. Now, how it gives this relief from material distress, I'll try to explain it very simple, as short as possible. The Rupa Goswami has told that the reason for which we suffer material distress is due to our ignorance. Avidya. Avidya means we do not know what is our true identity, and that's why, because we do not know our real identity, we commit a mistake. We have a material desire because we do not know that we are servant of the Lord. Our original characteristics of our soul we do not know. That's why because we are ignorant, we have material desire, and when for material desire we try to act, these acts are sinful acts, and as a consequence we suffer. Very simple. Avidya, or the ignorance, and then is material desire, and material desire is sinful act, that is suffering. Now, further on, when the sufferings are normally happens in two stages. One is visible. Initially, it is at one stage it remains invisible, and next it becomes visible. When it is invisible, when it is visible, it is called prarabdha, or manifest. It is sin. One can see that. Suppose a person has committed a sin, suppose as theft, and he is being jailed for that. So the prarabdha, you can see that he has committed an offense and he has been jailed for that. But at some stage, but initially, in some cases it is not immediately visible. That is called unmanifested or prarabdha. Now, in Padma Puran, the cycle is very clearly stated. So, prarabdha, how it becomes prarabdha. That means when it is unmanifested and how it becomes manifested. In first stage, when prarabdha, it is unmanifested stage, and subsequently there is a tendency to the sinful proclivity develops, and that stage is called kutam. Rupa Goswami has told is kutam, and after that is bijam, the sinful desire. First is sinful proclivity, second is sinful desire, and subsequently that the desire, when a person commits an offense, he gets punishment, it is visible, so it becomes prarabdha. So prarabdha, kutam, bijam, and prarabdha. I'm giving a small example. Suppose a person has has done sinful act for which he is destined to become a thief in the next life. In the next life, so in this life, it is prarabdha. One cannot see that he will become thief in the next life. But when he is born in the next life, does he immediately become thief? No. What happens? It is stored in his future birth. So the first stage of aparabdha, even in the beginning stage, when it's tied to proclivity is there, he has a tendency to commit offense. And he has a tendency toward dishonesty and cheating. That is the first stage. That is the stage of kutam. And in that stage, probably his parents and his close persons can see that he has got a sinful proclivity. And then subsequently this proclivity intensifies, and it becomes intensified. He has a desire to steal, and this is the stage of bija. That means he has the proclivity has ripened, and he has a strong desire to do for stealing. And when he started stealing, actively, when he starts stealing, or he becomes a theft and undergoes consequences of suffering, that is the prarabdha. It becomes prarabdha. So unmanifested in these two stages, it becomes prarabdha. So in this way, a person suffers because, or all of us suffers because of our previous sinful activities. Anyone will suffer. Now, devotional service, however, Rupa Goswami has mentioned that devotional service is like a blazing fire. It can burn everything. Even the prarabdha, which is visible, that can be stopped, because one is suffering, even that can be reduced. And for prarabdha, both the stages, sinful proclivity and desire, all this can be burnt aside. And this is the characteristics of devotional service. And Prabhupada has given a very good example of that. He has told that just like when there is a wildfire in the forest, there are so many animals and other things, but those who are fast moving, they can run away, they can save themselves. But snakes and other things, he has compared the desires as snakes, but the snakes are killed by the blazing fire. In a similar way, whatever desire we have, at whatever stage it is burnt aside, and that is the quality of devotional service. And another thing is that because all the desires are burnt aside, and that is the reason why there is no birth, one who undertakes Krishna consciousness. So a person in successful life in Krishna consciousness will have no birth. That is guaranteed. Now, now in this verse, if we can remember the first part of the verse is Shattoika Ekonishte Manushi. Bhagavat Parshavartini. So how can we develop the same vision as the Lord? That is the thing we'll try to discuss. And in other words, it is telling that a person in Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada is told, sees the material world as the same vision as the Supreme Lord. He sees the cosmic manifestation of the Lord in the same way the Lord sees it. Now, how we can do that? It is possible when we are all constantly associated with the Lord, Supreme Personality Lorded, and before that we have purified our consciousness. And how we can purify our consciousness? Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has advised that everyone in the present age to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra to purify our chitta. You know, Cheto Udarpanamarjanam, he has stated in the first verse of his Shikshashtakam, Cheto Udarpanamarjanam. When we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra and purify our consciousness, gradually, all the dust that is accumulated in our mind for life after life, we have accumulated, that started decreasing. And in this way, when our consciousness is increased, we can have a vision similar to that of the Lord. When we attain the stage, there are different, in Bhagavad Gita, there are so many verses are there to show what is that stage means. And also how we can do that, or it is also there, how we can achieve that. In Bhagavad Gita 1865 and 66, both is very nicely. 1865 it is the Manmana Bhavo Mad Bhakto Mad Jaji Mam Namaskuru. Mam Evoshoshi Sattam Te Pratijani Priyoshime. And the same verse is also previously there in 934. Manmana Bhavo Mad Bhakto Mad Jaji Mam Namaskuru. Mam Evoshoshi Yukto Ivatmanam Mat Parayano. And 1866 it is told, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Saranam Bhajo Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Pranaysh Mokshaishyami Ma Shucho. That means that is a complete surrender. When we surrender to the Lord, because Lord reciprocates devotees with the same way. Not only he reciprocates equally, but in fact he does more than that. So Je Jatha Mam Prapoddante Tam Stataiva Bhajanma. So it's 4.11, it is there. So to the extent we surrender to the Lord, the Lord reciprocates, and we became closer to the Lord. And at that stage, when a person has that vision, he can see the Lord in every place and everything. He can, and this vision, it is very clearly given in Bhagavad Gita in various verses. In 5.18, I think, Vidya Vinay Sampane Brahmane Gobi Hostini Suni Chaiva Shapake Pandita Samodarshini. That means a realized person, a Pandit or a Sitaprogya realized person, he can see the Lord within all of them. I mean, in 5.18 it is stated that here three animals are given, two human beings are told. Human beings, Vidya Vinay Sampane Brahmane, the Brahman who is very qualified in one sense, he has got a very high social status. But Shopakesh, a person, dog eater, he is a very lower status in society. And similarly, he is telling that a cow is there, elephant is there, and a dog is there. There are three different animals. Their physical appearance is different and their activities are different. But a pure devotee can see when he look at them, all these five creatures, he considers them that they are the living beings, are manifestation of the Lord's energy, and within that conditioned body they are appearing like that. So he can relate himself the energy of the Lord or the Lord presence in everywhere. And the similar verse is there in Bhagavad Gita 6.30. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasaham na pranashami sacha me na pranashati. The Lord is saying that one who sees me it is Krishna is saying to Lord Arjuna that one who sees me in everything, and in everything he sees me, and I do not forget him, and he also, just as he doesn't forget me, I also do not forget him. In a similar way, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 8.274, it is very, it is also that's vision of a pure devotee is given. Sthapor jangam dekhe na dekhe tar murti sarvatra hoy nijo ishtadev spurti. That means a saintly person or an advanced devotee sees Krishna in 24 hours a day and nothing else. As far as the movable, and stabor jangam means, stabor means immovable, and jangam means which can move. So stabor means plants and other trees. They cannot move. But a person with a Krishna consciousness person, he sees the things in everything Krishna. And that is, in this way, he relates everything with Krishna and his energy. In a similar way, we can say that what is one word comes to my mind, Sankirtan. There is a word Sankirtan we often say. Does anyone know what is the meaning of the word Sankirtan? Hare Krishna?
Chanting together, Prabhu. Sankirtan.
No, I'm just trying to go to the root of the word, Mataji. Samyak Rupena Kirtan. That is Sankirtan. Sankirtan means utilizing everything for the service of Krishna in one word. What you are saying, that is the exact, yes, there's the thing, but the root of the word is that Samyak Rupena Kirtan, utilizing everything for the service of Krishna. In fact, a Krishna conscious devotee performs Yukta Vairagya. He doesn't reject anything. He doesn't reject anything, but he utilizes everything for the service of Krishna. Unlike a Mayavadi people, they go by neti neti. That means this is not God, this is not Brahman, this is not Lord, this is not Lord. In this way, I mean, they say Brahman. This is not Paramatma, this is not Brahman. In this way, they go and they reject everything because thinks that this is not Krishna, this is not related to the Supreme. But a Krishna conscious person or a devotee of the Lord utilizes everything for the service of the Lord. And in fact, in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Sri Rupa Goswami has given two definitions of what is called Vairagya, Folgu Vairagya and Yukta Vairagya. And Yukta Vairagya means utilizing everything for the service of the Krishna, and Folgu Vairagya means rejecting the things for the rejecting the thing which is thinking that it is not related to Krishna. So the difference between a Mayavadi and a Krishna conscious person lies there. The definition is Anasaktasya Vishan, the Yukta Vairagya is there. Anasaktasya Vishan, Jatharam Upajunja, Nirbandha Krishna Sambhade, Yukta Vairagya Muchyate. And the one remains, he is not attracted, he is not attached to the things, but utilizing it for the service of the Krishna. That is the Yukta Vairagya. And Prapanchika Toya Buddha Hari Sambandhi Vastuna Mumukshu Viparittago Vairagyam Phalgo Kathyate. That means a person, he thinks that to achieve liberation, he renounced the things not related to Krishna, or thinking that they are material things. This is the difference between the Krishna conscious person and a Mayavadi person. A Krishna conscious person does not reject anything. He considers in fact, whatever he considers everything or as an energy of the Lord or Lord's energy, and in this way he tried to utilize it for the service of the Lord. And Mayavadi philosophers, they reject it. So that is the difference. In fact, Bhakti Siddhanta, in this regard, one example comes to my mind. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj once told that he considers the printing presses as Mahad Mridanga. Mridanga means, when Mridanga is played, a sound goes in distance also. But he considered that these printing presses prints book, and these are the knowledge and of relating to Krishna. When the books are printed and it goes far, far distance, and in this way, these books, this spreads the Krishna's message far, far distance. So they are Brihat Mridanga. And another point we should remember in this regard that there is no other way than Krishna consciousness we can stop the cycle of birth and death, because the birth and death birth and death for us, cycle of birth and death arise, we have because we have a desire. The desire, we have material desire, and also we have got, even when we have started Krishna consciousness, we are doing devotional service, but still material desire still remains in our mind. But if we remain attached to Krishna consciousness, the material desire gradually replaced by spiritual desires. The desires cannot be removed at a time, but it can be gradually reduced. And Krishna helps a devotee. And it is also in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is clearly written in 325:20, I think. 325:20. Prasanga majaram pasam atmano kavayo vidhu saevo sadhu sukrito mokshodaram kapitam. It is clearly stated that attachment to material things is the cause of our bondage in this conditioned life. And when we apply it for the service of a devotee, saevo sadhu sukrito, when we do it for the service of a devotee, that can kill our material desire. Or in other words, it can transfer our material desire to spiritual desire. So cultivating desire in the right direction is very important. And we should always introspect, and we should always think that why the material desire comes in our mind. If we think that way and pray to the Lord, because when we pray to the Lord helps us to overcome all our, and we cannot get rid of our material desire by our own effort. We should always remember that we should always, it is always driven out from our mind by the mercy of the Lord and his devotees. And in fact, only sometimes the bondage of our material attachment is so strong. It is like a hard knot, very, very hard, very, very difficult to untie it. So we have to, and sometimes we have to cut it. And this cutting is possible when we are attached to the Lord. And in fact, I think there is the verse when Prabhupada is also mentioned in this purport that karmani niddhati kintu bhakti bhajanam. What happens? The Lord, otherwise, he is impartial to everybody in the Paramatma feature, but he is partial to his devotees when he is Bhagavan, or the relation is between a devotee and the Lord. The Lord is partial to them. So with his blessing, or the Lord's blessing only, we can overcome this hard bondage of material desire. And in fact, as I have told, it has to be cut. There is a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam 1:15. Jadanuddhashina yukta karma granthi nibandanam chindanti kavitastasya ko na kuryat patharutim. When we hear the Lord's words, this bondage is gradually cut away, just as a sword, anuddhashina. Ashina means the sword. When with a sword it has to be cut. Sometimes, as I've told, they are so tight knotted that you cannot untie it, and that is accumulated for life after life. So we have to cut them with our attachment. And when we hear the Lord's pastimes, the Lord's glories, then that purifies our mind, and in this way we can get rid of our sinful reactions. And whatever desire remain in the past, it gets started to come down, and gradually it is removed. And another thing that has been told here is about the Lord is so merciful that when we are doing devotional service in our own effort, we cannot, as I have told you, we cannot overcome all that. But the Lord helps us. And in the purport, it is very clearly written that when the accumulated, when we get a gross body, we involved in our activities, but the Lord helps us bringing these desires in the form of a dream. When we see it in the dream, we get, the Lord removes the devotee from his incurring sin. Because if he does in a material body, he will he will incur sin. And so Lord show them in the dream, so that while he saw in the dream, his sinful desire is also minimized. And in this way, he becomes free from these past activities. So the Lord is so kind. Even even we can take an example, as Prabhupada is often told, if a person, when a devotee has, it is not that the devotees are not affected by material material suffering, but the Lord, for them, the Lord reduces them to the minimum extent. A person has, a devotee has, as an example, when a devotee has fallen and his hand has a cut or something like that, he should remember that he must have lost his hand altogether. But the Lord is so kind that he has just reduced it to the minimum, to the extent of just a cut. Instead of whole hand being chopped off, only small sufferings has been given to him. In a similar way, it is also told that in this verse, in the purport in particular, that when the Lord shows all his desires at one time, so that all his sinful desires get nullified at by one stroke. And in the purport, Vishwanath Chakraborty Thakur has told that just as Mother Jashoda has a desire to see all the planets and everything, that Krishna fulfilled his desire by just everything in his mouth. So this is the way the Lord helps us, helps his devotees to get rid of their desire, mental desire, gradually, and ultimately removes them. So in this way, one gets purified, and ultimately their repetition of birth is stopped, and devotional service is the only way by which we can get rid of our desires. And Lord, whatever little material desire we have, gradually it goes away. And we should always have a faith on the Lord and the advice of our spiritual master. Whatever our spiritual master gives us, if we sincerely do that, we must have a faith, or we should have a faith, that if we do that, because we are doing Vaidhi Bhakti, so we should always remember what our spiritual master says. We are not doing Raganuga Bhakti, so we cannot overcome these rules and regulation. We should always follow whatever the spiritual master says. If we follow that, we can surely overcome this sinful desire from our mind, and in this way we can go back to Godhead. And in this regard, I will just quote one verse, I think, in Bhagavad Gita 8:28 it is. 8:28, yes. 8:28 it is there. Videshu yaggeshu taposhu chaiva daneshu yat punna phalam pradishtam atteti tat sarvamidam viditya yogi param sthanam upaiti chantam. A person who accepts the path of devotional service, Prabhupada is translated in this way. A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas, performing sacrifice, undergoing austerities, giving charity, pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all this, and at the end, he reaches the supreme eternal abode, Param Sthanam. He achieves the ultimate goal of life. And in this regard, before I close, just small words, and then I'll close. And one thing we must remember: some people may say, I'm just putting one question before you. We know that Dhruva Maharaj has seen seen Lord face to face, and when he saw the Lord face to face, he lamented that what he had wanted was a broken piece of glass, but the jewel is before him, so he doesn't want anything. So why the Lord has fulfilled his material desire? Devotees, any ideas you have? And why the Lord fulfilled his material desire? Because Lord, at that time, the devotee is telling, I don't want anything. But Lord still fulfilled his material desire.
because of his strong desire to supersede his grandfather.
Anybody else? Any other?
As you said just now, Prabhu, in devotional service, everything is contained. The fulfillment of material desire automatically, it's already contained in that.
Prabhuji, thank you, both of you, for that. But one thing I have read, and that's why I'm just letting you know that is to show the non-devotees that Lord fulfills. Lord has the capacity to fulfill everything, and also, if suppose I'm giving the other way, I mean, the Lord putting it in this way, if someone else thinks that the Lord only allows his devotees to do devotional service, ultimately doesn't give them anything. And he just take them away, and he doesn't fulfill the material desire. He just get his service done, and ultimately does not give them any material things. To get rid, to over to override that opinion, Lord showed that he is capable of giving everything. And in fact, he gives it to show that he is capable of doing that. But at the same time, all the future desires that remains within our mind, he is burnt away. So he provides the material things. At the same time, all the desire for material things, for future desires, are burnt away. So that is the Lord. And in this way, a devotee gets everything, as we have just told in 828. He achieves everything when devotional service is done. So with that, I conclude. If anybody has any question, any realization, any comments, please make. I'm happy to hear from you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
What a wonderful explanation of text 69. You have tabulated everything right from the beginning, how these desires manipulates uh, our future bodies in conjunction with the previous desires, how it that does select, and how to get rid of that desire and to become a Krishna conscious with the example of the Falgu Vairagya and Jukta Vairagya. That is the actual way of getting rid of the future birth or stopping the future birth and death, and how devotional service help us to the right understanding that there is only Lord mercy which can help us to stop the future birth by engaging our everything, engaging our mind, consciousness in the service of the Lord, and Lord automatically help us. With the example of this Dhruva Maharaj, as you mentioned, yeah, Lord can provide everything. Material desires, spiritual desires, everything. So for the non-devotees, they should not think that they are just away from the Lord. They are also the part of the Lord. To make this understanding pakka, He has given that desire to fulfill the desire of Dhruva Maharaj, so that non-devotee can also understand that they are not separate from the Lord. They are also part and parcel of the Lord. So this way, by devotion um, mm, perfect contribution in the devotional service of the Lord will automatically help us in every respect. What you have to do is to just understand the importance and follow the instruction of the spiritual master through faith, and follow the Bodhi Bhakti, so that we can align ourselves to get rid of the previous birth and attain spirituality in the future life, to stop the birth and death. So that is the message given from this text. Thank you very much for enlightening and explaining in the right context and understanding it very clearly. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for the summary and thank you for your realization. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandot Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much for your wonderful class. I really like that how you explained how to see everything in the Lord's vision, how the Lord sees everything similar to see that. I really like that various references you gave and how you said we can see it similar to how the Lord sees. Thank you for that, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Anybody has any other comments to make, or otherwise you can? So it appears there is no other person to make any comment. So we're concluding class. Vancha
Kalpataruyascha
Patitanam
Pavanebhyo
Pavanebhyo Namo Namo Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vritti Ki Jai.
His Grace Abhay Charan
His
Ki
Grace
Jai.
Abhay Charan Prabhu Ki Jai.
Ki Jai.
Jai.
Lord Premanande
Hari
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 Bol.
Bol. All glories to the assembled
Hare
devotees.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Madhuri.